Guys, yesterday I gave my preview on the Ohio State 2022 defense. Now I want to talk offense, and the expectations for this offense are absolutely through the roof. Last year, Ohio State number one in the nation in points per game, yards per play, yards per game, overall efficiency, any offensive metric that dealt with efficiency. Ohio State was number one in the nation, scoring over 45 points per game. Their offense was rated number one in the ESPN FPI offensive metrics system. And guys, I gotta be honest, I only expect the Ohio State offense to get better in 2022, even without Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who were both first-round picks. Of course, we're going to break everything down: the quarterback situation, the running back situation, the offensive line situation, the receiver situation. We're going to do it all. And of course, we start with the quarterback, C.J. Stroud, who is currently the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. I will note, it's just kind of how it works out in college football. Normally, the preseason Heisman favorite never wins the award. Maybe CJ can change it. I don't know, but he is the current favorite over Bryce Young, according to basically every sports book, and that's mainly due to the idea that these sports books are betting against Bryce Young winning back-to-back Heismans, because obviously it basically never happens outside of Archie Griffin. But CJ Stroud, 44 touchdowns in 2021. Of course, that's with him missing the Akron game. And he also Ohio State didn't play in a Big Ten championship, so that's 2 extra games C.J. Stroud potentially misses. I'm putting the over-under at C.J. Stroud's touchdowns in 2022 at 54.5. Personally, of course, a lot of it depends on, I am expecting Ohio State to play that extra game in the Big Ten championship, and I am expecting Ohio State to play an extra game on top of that in the national championship. If they make it there, that would be 15 games, and I would put the over-under total touchdowns at 54.5. He was number one in the nation in QBR, just 6 interceptions, and he was also 5th in yards. Once again, he was 5th in yards while missing the Akron game and while not playing in that extra Big Ten championship. So I am expecting CJ, if he plays a full 15 games, the over-under on his touchdowns will be 54.5. And of course, a lot of that's anecdotal, because we saw several times last year where Ohio State's offense just absolutely exploded in the first half and completely took their pedal off the gas or their foot off the gas in the second half. 49 points against Michigan State in the first half. They basically rest everyone. They had like 42 points in the first half against Purdue and really took it easy. So I'm still expecting a major offensive year from CJ, no doubt. And then when it comes to the 2 backups, Kyle McCord and Devin Brown, the true freshman, really with McCord, the good news is he's already gotten a start. So in a horror scenario where CJ gets injured, what happens? Kyle McCord has already started. He's already played. Obviously, it's not an ideal situation, but it's not like he's a true freshman. This year, Ohio State will have good backup depth with McCord, who was a former 5-star in his own right. And then you've got Devin Brown, the true freshman. He's a guy you want to get some reps. Those 2 guys will have a massive battle next offseason for the future quarterback position at Ohio State, and I'm expecting the loser of that battle to transfer out. That's just my opinion. But when it comes to the backups, look to get them reps, especially Devin Brown. In the blowout games, the Arkansas State game, the Toledo game, the Rutgers game early in the season, they should be getting plenty of reps in the second half and should be throwing a few passes here and there. So with the quarterback, it's an amazing situation anytime Ohio State, especially Ryan Day, has a returning quarterback. That's going to spell trouble for the rest of college football. This offense should be number one in the nation, in my opinion, in every measurable metric in 2022, just like they were in 2021. The running back situation, of course, the superstar, true freshman last year, Trevion Henderson, is back as a sophomore. nearly 1,300 yards, averaging right around 7 yards per carry with 15 touchdowns as a true freshman. I would put the over-under for Trevion at around 1,600 rushing yards and about 17 touchdowns. You know, they're going to want to keep Trevion fresh. I'm sure he's going to play a ton week 1 against Notre Dame, but after that, there are some real easy matchups for Ohio State. You're only going to see Trevion probably get like 10 or 11 carries in the week 2 game against Arkansas State. Same thing with week 3 and Toledo, along with other games like Rutgers. So Trevion's going to have a great year. I know he kind of has Heisman odds and things like that. Ohio State is more of a passing offense under Ryan Day. Ryan Day has been trying to be more balanced recently, but they are more of a passing type of offense. But guys, Trevion Henderson, I may be a homer because Trevion's my favorite player, but I actually think he's the best running back in college football. That's just my opinion. The way he looked as a true freshman, it was Saquon Barkley-esque. The cuts, the speed, he's got 4.3 speed. He's got, the dude has another gear. And I just think he's amazing. I know Bijan Robinson is also amazing, but Trevion Henderson, he's only going to get better. He's only going to bulk up more. He's only going to get stronger. He's only going to get faster. I cannot, I will say this, J.K. Dobbins had an amazing true freshman season, but J.K. Dobbins was not that. J.K. Dobbins did not look like that. And I love J.K. I love J.K. He's a great running back, but Trevion Henderson, there's something different. There's something special, and it's the speed element along with the power. Very similar to Saquon Barkley. He's going to be amazing. Mayan Williams is back. He's a really underrated running back. Shocked he didn't transfer. You know, he's a guy that should be starting, and if he transferred, he'd be starting on basically any team like Cincinnati, or he could even transfer to another Power 5 team. He averaged 7.1 yards per carry. 500 rushing yards. I would love to see Mayan used in short yardage situations. He's kind of a bigger back to me, and I just feel like if it's 4th and 1, you give him the ball, he's going to get the first down no matter what. So I would love to see Ryan Day, when it's 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, it's so critical just to move the chains, those downs you have to convert. Give the ball to Mayan Williams, make him the short yardage back, 3rd and goal at the 1, you got to punch it in. Give it to Mayan. That's my opinion. Really good backup running back. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of run, in games like Arkansas State, Toledo, games like that. And then you've got an interesting, another running back, Evan Pryor. And I think we all know that Evan needed to bulk up. As a true freshman, it can be really tough. He didn't play much last year. There has been rumors that he has bulked up, and it'll be interesting to see how much he plays compared to Williams now that I'm guessing he's more acclimated to the college game and put on a few pounds, things like that, of muscle. So Evan Pryor, he's a top 80 overall recruit in the same class as Trevion Henderson. So I don't know if he will be a redshirt freshman or a true sophomore. I don't think he played 4 games, so he'll probably be a redshirt freshman, and it'll be interesting. Does Evan Pryor break out, and does he become the number 2 running back in this offense? They kind of have a 3-headed monster. Well, I wouldn't call it that because Trevion's the guaranteed starter. He's going to get most of the carries, but they've got 3 solid running backs they can really utilize. Evan Pryor maybe a little bit more in the passing game, although we saw Trevion Henderson can catch the ball. Yeah, Trevion Henderson can catch the ball fine. We will see. Moving to the receivers, guys, it's JSN, who actually has pretty good Heisman odds. He's high up there because, Devontae Smith did win the Heisman as a receiver a few years ago. It's going to be really tough. But either way, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's the unquestionable number 1 receiver in college football. I guess you could make an argument for Jordan Addison. I don't know. I think it's JSN. 1,600 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaging 17 yards a catch, 95 total receptions in 2021. He's back as a junior. And guys, I don't know, maybe 1,900 yards over under for JSN. It's another one of those situations where if Ohio State is up big, he's probably only going to be playing the first half against Arkansas State. And that becomes tough for receivers, especially because there's only so many stats you can get as a receiver in one half. Quarterbacks can still throw 4 or 5 touchdowns in one half, but it's a little bit tougher for receivers. But either way, JSN, again, maybe 2,000 yards if they really want to push it. JSN could certainly get 2,000 yards. I'm just saying it might be a situation where he sits out a lot of fourth quarters games against Rutgers, games against Northwestern late in the season, the early season games. There's going to be some games that Ohio State blows teams out, so he might not play that much. And then maybe 13 or 14 touchdowns for JSN. He's just a great combination of everything. He could be in the slot. He could be outside. Really, really, really good receiver. Obviously, the number one receiver in college football. Marvin Harrison Jr., of course, kind of a different hybrid, bigger receiver Ohio State really hasn't had. I guess you could say maybe Benjamin Victor was like that, but I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is clearly another level, just a little bit more talented, and he is a guy, the 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl with Olave and Garrett Wilson being out. What an amazing preview that was for Ohio State fans. He's going to be a crazy red zone threat. Very easily, I could see Marvin Harrison Jr. with 15 or 16 touchdowns. He's huge in the red zone. He's going to be amazing. He was my number 2 player on the players I expect to break out for Ohio State. And that's really an obvious pick, right? Losing Garrett Wilson and Olave. Marvin Harrison Jr. slides right in. He should be amazing. Here's a little wild card. Julian Fleming. And, I have to give Julian credit for not transferring in a day and age when, if you're not getting playing time, this is the former number 3 overall player in his class, the number 1 wide receiver in the nation. You're not getting playing time, you're injured, Emeka Egbuka's on the roster, Ohio State is signing 5 stars left and right. Julian Fleming is not transferring out. He's trying to earn a starting role. We hope he stays healthy. And if Julian Fleming stays healthy and you add him to this receiver room, it gets really scary because you've also got Emeka Egbuka, who's an amazing returner. He was also a former number 1 wide receiver in his class. As a true sophomore, he is. Julian's going into his junior season. You just hope he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, you've got JSN, you've got Fleming, you've got Marvin Harrison Jr., you've got Egbuka. It gets real scary. The receiving core, you don't have to worry about it at all. We understand Olave and Garrett Wilson were great, but that's the one position Ohio State could really afford to lose players because of the recruiting that Brian Hartline has done. So the receivers should be amazing. Julian Fleming, I don't think I would predict anything because I just want to see him healthy, but he's a guy, we remember, number 3 overall player in his class, extremely talented. You've got a quarterback like C.J. Stroud throwing you the ball. Big things are going to happen as long as you stay healthy, in my opinion. Tight end position. So Jeremy Ruckert is off to the NFL. I believe he was a 3rd-round draft pick. And G. Scott Jr. is really an interesting guy. He's a former receiver turned tight end, former top 100 recruit. He was recruited as a receiver, but he's bulked up. And, he had 5 catches last year. We'll see how he does. Ohio State normally in the Ryan Day offense doesn't really utilize the tight end position, but this is a unique athlete. Again, he was a former receiver, and he is a big target. You look at him out there, he's a bigger guy. So we will see if G. Scott Jr. maybe in the red zone as a target can be a nice little complimentary piece for C.J. Stroud overall. And then the offensive line, of course, it's the Paris Johnson Jr. show. The former top 10 overall recruit will be making his debut at left tackle. And if he plays well, I think this Ohio State offensive line will be fine. You've got Darwin Jones returning at right tackle. He's fine there. And then Ohio State normally tends to recruit guards very well. Donovan Jackson is someone I'm really interested to see as a true sophomore if he gets a starting job as a guard. He was the number 1 overall guard in the 2021 class, Donovan Jackson out of Texas. So the line should be completely fine as long as Paris Johnson Jr. has the breakout season many people are expecting. This is a guy that's being mocked currently top 15, top 10, number 1 offensive tackle, and it's mainly based off of his recruiting ranking. He was the number 1 offensive tackle in his class. He is a junior now. He played guard last year. He's kicking out to left tackle, and as long as he plays well, the Ohio State offensive line should be fine. But this offense you're talking about, number 1 in everything last year. Sure, you lose the 2 receivers, but you replace them with a Julian Fleming, with a Marvin Harrison Jr., with an Emeka Egbuka maybe. We know he's going to be returning kicks. You've got Trevion as a superstar running back. We know the quarterback is the Heisman favorite. That's why I think this offense could turn out to be one of the best ever, depending on the situations of the games. They averaged 45 points last year. They very easily could have averaged 50. But again, against Michigan State, they have 49 points in the first half. They completely rest all their starters, which they should do. We have bigger things to play for, but they end up with only 56 points. So it's a situation where the points per game don't really tell the whole story on how good the actual offense is, because Ryan Day is not going to run up scores. He's going to rest his guys because he knows this year especially is Ohio State's championship window. They're going to be the preseason AP number 2 team. And I think even with Alabama, you could make an argument Ohio State is a more complete team based off of the video I did yesterday on the defense. And if the defense improves significantly, we know the offense is going to be unbelievable. Of course, the problem with Alabama is they have Will Anderson Jr., you know, he's just the cheat code, and Bryce Young. And they also have Jordan Battle. They have a really good team. But it'll be interesting with Ohio State and Alabama. But guys, this offense, it's going to be crazy. My expectation is they're going to be first in everything again with the returning Heisman favorite quarterback, the superstar running back. The three-headed monster. C.J. Stroud, JSN, Trevion Henderson. There's no better three-headed monster in college football. I don't know if we've seen a three-headed monster like this you'd have to go back, I think, pretty far. It's crazy how good those three players are. You could make an argument Trevion's the best running back in college football, JSN's the best receiver in college football, C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback in college football. You could make a legitimate argument. They're the best. So it is a crazy offense. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.